Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Phillips Russo, Viticulture Extension Specialist with the Lake Erie Regional Grape Program. And we're here today for our weekly podcast. We have a very special guest. His name is Nick Gunner, and he is the founder of Orbitus, which is a mapping software development company. And he's been working with us on the My Efficient Vineyard SCRI project. Hi, Nick. Welcome.
Hi.
So we're here to talk a little bit more about the MyEV tool that's been developed through this project. I don't want any of our growers to get nervous and worried, and you have a very easy way of talking to people. So I appreciate you being here and calming people's nerves about my technology.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you say that, because sometimes when we talk about software, or we talk about new technology, or we talk about GIS or any of this stuff, it can be a little bit intimidating. But as you mentioned, the goal here is to make this stuff as just dead simple as it can possibly be. I think we've done a pretty good job of that, and we're constantly working to make this stuff even simpler. So the purpose of MyEV is to provide growers the easiest way to get value out of maps on their farms, to be able to create maps, whether you're using data that you're collecting in the field with sensors, or creating maps with your cell phone. Being able to walk around your operation and tag whatever you want and map it. Maps are really important for complicated operations that happen over space, which is what a farm is. It's a complicated thing. And so maps help us collect information about the farm, and they help us know where things are, and they help us know when we need to act on things on the farm. So My Efficient Vineyard makes that easy.
I agree. Possibly even ward off what you thought was a little problem as you're walking through. You may just see the size of it when you can visualize it on your computer. So do you want to talk a little bit about the app itself and how they can be a sensor?
Yeah, so there's kind of two ways to use My Efficient Vineyard. The one is to upload data that you have collected using sensors. It's a little bit more of the more complicated way of using it, but and we'll probably talk about that in a minute. But at its simplest, My Efficient Vineyard is a little button on your phone that when you notice a broken post, you can push the My Efficient Vineyard button and drop a pin in the broken posts bucket. If you are interested in taking samples of pruning weights, if you're looking to identify pests or disease as you're going through your vineyard, same thing. It's easy. You're the sensor. You're driving through the vineyard. You look, oh, there's something that's not normal. Pull out the phone, push the button, collect that point, and put it there. I can walk through an example real quick.
Yeah, that would be great. As you're talking, I'm sitting here. Presumably, they could develop these maps, print them off, and hand them out to their vineyard manager. Maybe you didn't know that we had 5 posts down over here. So,
right.
Great.
Or they can add their vineyard manager as a collaborator on the app, and then they have the most up-to-date version of that map in their pocket at all times.
I love that feature.
Let me see if I can share my screen here real quick. Can you see this map here?
Mm-hmm. It looks like Clairol.
Yep, this is Clairol. I'm going to actually switch to one of my tutorial farm, which is a fake farm. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my computer into a cell phone right now.
I just want to interrupt you as you're doing all of that quickly. So you said this is one of your tutorial farms. That's a really good point to have out there, because there are tutorials on our website, correct? That people can click on at their own pace and walk through and learn it.
Yep. If you go to efficientvineyard.com/docs, and I'm going to just double check that real quick to make sure I'm right. So it's efficientvineyard.com/docs. On here we're uploading video tutorials for everything that you need to know on My Efficient Vineyard. Right now, there's probably maybe a half an hour worth of videos up there, maybe a little more or less. I don't know exactly, but not a huge amount of time, to just watch these videos, and you'll pretty much will know everything you need to know about how to use My Efficient Vineyard. We're also doing a monthly blog series under the VIT blog, and I'm posting. So here's more signal, less noise. For instance, this is a tutorial that kind of breaks down several of these steps a little bit more in depth.
That's fantastic. What a great resource. And for people to learn at their own pace.
Exactly. So I'm here on myefficientvineyard.com, and you'll see this little button down here in the lower right. This is the collector button. So when I want to collect something, I push the collector button. This is pretending that it's a cell phone right now. And when I push this collector button, it's going to hone in on my location, which is in Grand Island, New York, not a vineyard. So I'll push the collector button. By the way, you can ignore the code that's all over here. That's just a bunch of nonsense. So I've just clicked on create, or I've clicked on my data collector button, and you'll see there's nothing in here. And that's because I haven't created any collectors. So I'm going to pretend that I want to collect broken posts. I want a collector available so that every time I see a broken post, I push collect, I push broken posts, and I can collect that information. So I'm going to say new data collector, and I'm going to say broken posts. And I only have to do this once, by the way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a field. Fields are other information that I want to collect about each broken post.
Okay.
Or each whatever it is that I'm collecting. So if you're looking at broken posts, I want to know how broken is it? Is it minor? They could wait. We could leave it for a little while. Or is it really broken? So I'm going to say, let's call this severity. So how severe? I spelled that wrong. And I'm going to use a select. Select is like options. And what I'm going to do is add a couple of options. Not too bad. And really bad. So we have our two options. And I'm going to require this so that when I collect broken post, how severe is it broken? It's not too bad, or it's really bad. I have to tell it one of those. So I'll add that. Now our collector is ready to go. We'll save this. Now we have a broken posts collector. So you do that one step one time. Now forever, my farm has a broken posts collector. So I put my phone away. I'm driving down the row. I get to the end. I notice there's a broken post there. I push collectors. I push on broken posts, and it's going to zoom in on my location. And this post is really bad. So I'm going to click really bad and submit. And now I've submitted that data. So I have a broken post right there. Now I'm driving down the row and I see another broken post. This one's not too bad. Let's try that one. And I'm going to do one more, not too bad. And I saw it back a ways. I'm up ahead of the row. It's back a ways. So I'm actually going to tap on the map where I remember it generally being. So that's where I want that one.
That's fantastic.
And submit it. Boom. So now I have 3 broken posts. I mean, actually 2 of them right now were plopped here in the same exact location, so you won't see them. But I'm collecting all this information, so where does it go? This button right here, this is our data sets button. If I push this, you're going to see all the data sets that are on our farm. You're going to see broken posts here with a little satellite dish. That little satellite dish means that this is what we're calling a dynamic data set, which just means that it's continuing to be updated. As new data rolls in, this data set gets updated. I'm going to launch Broken Posts here. Now it's going to say there's new data available because I just collected some data and it's compiling. The first time you do this, there's a bug. We're still trying to identify. It just gets hung up here. We're going to fix this as soon as we figure out how. It's just the first time. So I apologize. This is new software. This is how this works. Refresh the page or close the app and reopen it, and it'll work. I still can't figure out why that continues to happen, but.
So don't worry when you get that and you're playing with this, just refresh it or close it and reopen it and it'll be there.
Exactly. So if I go to Broken Posts now, it's compiled and there are our points. We've got a broken post, a broken post. And let's make those points a little bit bigger so they're easier to see. Let's make the color red. Or what I could do is do a value-based coloration. And I could say, let's color those points by the severity. And let's make really bad red and not too bad, we'll make orange.
That's great.
The red one's underneath there, but
just focus on the red ones, easy and simple.
So if you're the manager, yeah, you could go around it. And you can imagine, this is just an example. It could be, again, pests. It could be absolutely anything. Let me turn this back into a desktop and I'll just show you an example of Terry at your office at Clairol.
That's Dr. Terry Bates.
Yep, Dr. Terry Bates. He has been collecting data using his phone in your railroad block. So if I come into data collectors, this vine size data set here. So this is a pretty beefy amount of data.
It is.
And this is each one of these points. This was all collected just walking right up and down the rows using a cell phone.
That any one of our growers could do in their own blocks.
Exactly.
Okay.
And again, no special sensors, no complicated technologies, just your cell phone and My Efficient Vineyard.
I have a quick question before you go any further. Since we are talking about this, I'm anticipating some of our growers watching, looking at their phone as we go through. What is that app called?
So right now, the app isn't downloaded through an app store the way that most apps are. We're going to launch an app in the App Store shortly. But the way that you access the app and save it to your phone is you just go to my.efficientvineyard.com. And if you're on an Android device, it will prompt you and tell you that you can install this app. If you're on an Apple device, actually the easiest thing to do, I don't want to take too much time on this right now, but if you just go to efficientvineyard.com/docs, you'll see one of the first tutorials. There's, of course, login, create your account, but then there's install the mobile app down a ways here. This walks you through, it's a really simple process on both Android and iOS to install that app.
You just answered all my questions. Thank you.
So yeah, there's a lot. And then, I mean, you can color things. Dr. Terry Bates has this colored, using some zones and stuff like that. But that's, again, the tutorials will help you with all of that stuff. But
it's whatever's useful to you, the user, whatever works best for you.
Absolutely. So again, even as simple as we've made it, it may still be a little bit intimidating to you. I get that, because I take for granted these concepts, of collecting data and things like that. But we're here to continue to make this better. So if you do run into stumbling blocks, one of the most important things for us as software developers is feedback. We don't want to build stuff that confuses and frustrates our users. Like, we really do want to make it as intuitive and as simple for you as it can be. And we are taking really complicated topics and trying to distill them down into a simple package. So It's a big lift. So your help, we're always looking for help.
So we really want you to get out there, start using it, break it. Let us know what could be more user-friendly, what hung you up. Any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself and I can make sure that Nick gets them. Or Nick, if you want to share your information.
The best
Or you
thing to
want
do,
go ahead.
if you're in My Efficient Vineyard, there's this little bullhorn here. If you just
Perfect.
push that feedback, that's the feedback button. If you just push that, you put your message here, that's going to come right to me. And it's also going to tell me what farm you're on. It's going to tell me if you're looking at a data set. It's going to tell me a little more information about where you are in the app, which is going to help me help you identify the bug or the problem that you're working on here. So this is the way I'd recommend sending us feedback. I've gotten all sorts of stuff. Someone in New Zealand the other day was like, why don't you have the metric system for, the size of my blocks? It's like, that's a great question. Great idea. We'll build that in. So I've added that to our list of things to build.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I also want to just ask a question for some of our growers. This is all of their data. This isn't out there for everyone to see, correct? Because you have to sign in and create an account and that makes it theirs.
Yes, this is a
Okay.
good point. We take data security really seriously. We do, however, warn that this is a beta app that we're working on right now. You should never upload seriously, data that you wouldn't want the world to see. Because like critical private data, don't upload that to My Efficient Vineyard because this is a beta app and we shouldn't upload that kind of data to beta apps. We are locking your data down. Only you have access to it. You can download your own data. You can request your own data from us. If you want to get off the platform, we can send you a folder of data. But just know that it could potentially be hacked by North Korea or something. I don't
So
know.
don't go putting your social security number, birth
Yeah,
date,
don't.
and all of that information out there.
Exactly. But yeah, we're not actively sharing your data with anybody. It's yours, and it will always be that way.
And I know because I've been on the backside of this, working with the development with you guys, you can change. These data sets will be saved. And let's say you have a corner of that block and it hasn't been productive in 10 years, so you rip it out. You're not going to lose all of that past data because it will just generate a new map when you go in there and create it. This is just fantastic. And I'm so proud of the work that everybody on the team has put together and so excited for where this could go for our growers and help. So I appreciate all of your work. Thank you. And for coming on. I'm pretty sure we'll have you back as another guest with the next section of it. So maybe we could correspond it with your VIT blog when you post something out there and you want to get it out. We could just do a podcast on it. So
Yeah, I would again encourage you. Like we just scratched the surface here on the most simplest use case, but if you come over to efficientvineyard.com/docs, or as you saw here, when you click the feedback button, there's this watch these videos button that takes you to the same place. You can learn how to upload all that data you're paying for. If you have someone coming to your farm and running a scan of the soil or doing some drone stuff or whatever they're doing, we're adopting the ability so you can upload all that data to My Efficient Vineyard. So check out those videos.
that's fantastic. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
So if anybody has any future questions, please feel free to submit them to me or hit the feedback button and reach Nick personally. If you have any comments or concerns or ideas for future podcasts, please comment below in the section. And thank you everybody for joining us today. Have a great day.